Hello all, here at OS Reviews. You're watching our video review of the GameChanger game board for iPad. This is an interactive device that plugs into the 30-pin connector of older, last-generation iPad devices and essentially transforms your iPad into an interactive game board or a traditional gaming device. So it's more oriented and suited for kids, perhaps for also for younger teenagers, and it works pretty well. You basically fold it open. We have the iPad, which attaches to the center, and the sides, which offers these grids, become interactive touch grids, and it's very similar to an actual gaming board, perhaps like Monopoly or something like that, and you interact with pieces that you have that comes included in the packaging that you place onto the grids when you're playing the different games. However, unlike a traditional board game, these grids are actually touch sensitive and pressure sensitive, so whenever you place something here, the iPad will actually recognize it. As a gaming system, it's also very unique because it comes with a lot of free applications that you simply go into the App Store and you search GameChanger, and you directly have the ability to download those. You have titles from Scholastic like the Magic School Bus that takes advantage of the unique touch pads on the device to generate other games that are for more mature audiences. But all in all, it's also a very, very innovative concept that we haven't really seen before. And again, basically puts the gamepad or the traditional board game back into existence into a digital media. Inserted onto the bottom of the device, we simply install a free application called the GameChanger, and we're ready to go. It's fully functional with even the first generation of the iPad up to the current generation, so it's going to be compatible with most devices and most iOS iPads out there. The application is pretty simplistic. We have a few applications on here, and you can get even more new games that are coming soon. The current ones built on here includes Animal Mania, the Magic School Bus, Kaboom, Kaboom Pirates, Airplanes, and Butterflies, and Classroom. And these games all take advantage again of the touch-sensitive pads located on the GameChanger. So for example, we have something like Butterflies, which is a pretty unique game. If we tap on that, we can play it. Basically, we have these different grids on the sides that we have butterflies that will appear on screen. And by tapping on the corresponding places where the butterflies might appear by pressing it onto the gamepad's sensors, we can try and catch the butterflies. And so it's something that you can use corresponding to the parts of the pad that are going to be correlating to the net, and then you can catch as many butterflies as you can, and you're trying to compete with a friend who has the same thing going on the other side. So you can basically create a duel and see who can get the most points by the end of the game. Overall, the execution in the game is pretty strong. It definitely works pretty well, and it's pretty fun to kind of battle a friend in this. It's a basic game that's great for kids as well as adults. It's simplistic, it's easy to use, and we found that the touchpad itself is actually very responsive, so you don't have to type too hard to get the device to recognize your touch. But at the same time, you do need a bit of resistance and a slight amount of pressure for the device to recognize your touch. So pretty interesting, and definitely something that's unique. We can go back to the menu system, and other games on here would include Classroom, which is finding the even numbers on a chalkboard, which uses the same concept. Airplanes, which is to shoot down enemy airplanes on the sky just by pressing on the corresponding pads. There's Kaboom Pirates, which is very similar. Kaboom, which is like a fire cannons at your opponent and towards different towers, which is a bit more of a fun game, slightly for more mature audiences, but you can see how we can play this game. It loads in a few seconds. There's a tutorial. Let's try an easy version. So now we have these different tanks located on either ends of the spectrum, and I can try and fire just by pressing on the corresponding pads, and you can see how I'm now firing by pressing on the corresponding pads of my device. So then I can also tap on the different parts to activate different corresponding features. It's a bit more challenging. It's more of a strategic game, which is also interesting. So it do have more mature titles if that's what you're looking for. And of course the Magic School Bus, which I was talking about before. There's also Animal Mania, which is more of a traditional board game, and this game actually requires game pieces that comes included, or you can actually purchase separately online. And they're just basic static game pieces that you place onto the board and move it around the game board like a traditional board game, which is kind of interesting. So pressing on the new games, there are a few new games coming soon, but at the moment there aren't any that you can really download. It tells you how to use it, the credits, and you can of course share it with your friends and family and share your scores online. So as far as execution is considered, it is a very appealing game, and it does work pretty well, so the application is nicely designed. And when the iPad is into the actual GameChanger itself, you can also add It can also dub as a basic little folio case. I can close up the device with the iPad inside and also take the device with me, and also provides and protects the iPad inside and has access to all the ports, which is kind of interesting. So overall, I would say that the GameChanger game board for iPad is a very compelling purchase. It offers a lot of functionality for just the price it's being offered at. In fact, you can get it as low as $15 on Amazon.com, which is pretty incredible for the value that it adds as far as gaming, and also for adding the sensors and the technology. I think it's worth the money. You can check out our 4-minute review on our website. This has been our video review of the GameChanger game board for iPad.